Hi guys, Taiwan Trades. As you see right now, we are on the 3rd of August. The year is almost over, and I wanted to make a weekly trade recap, and I'm a little bit guilty of not having journaled any trade in all of this whole week, and partly it's part of what I will discuss a little bit into the video. So you can see where I'm at. No need to describe it more than it is. Yeah, you can see it there. And so let's get straight into it. So as I just told you, I haven't journaled for the past a whole week, so I want to go through my trades which I took on this past whole week and share with you my thought process. And honestly, I didn't perform well as I wanted because I didn't analyze what went wrong or right in the trades which I took. I was kind of busy with personal schedules and school and what. So let's go to the last 30 days. So this week started, I think the week started at 23rd of July. So that is the trade which we are going to jump toward. So it was the trade which I took on 23rd of July. Let me see. It was a GBP GPY. So I think I did a live record of the trade because I want to go through the trades which I didn't upload any. So actually, though the wins are kind of similar, but I want to go through the mistakes which I made on the trades which I lost. So that is what I'm going to discuss about today. So without further ado, let's jump right into the trade which I took here on a GBP USD. Yeah, it was a partial close. Now I'm gonna start with the trade which I took on the, I think it's like GBP USD. Let me go back a little bit and see if I got it right. Yeah. Let me go to the history last 30 days because this month started midweek. So I think I'm gonna start with the recap. I'm gonna do a recap of the trades which I didn't manage well or I was wrong with the bias, so that you can kind of see what you can learn from my mistakes. As you can see, last 30 days I was in green, but not in the way that I wanted. So because you can see that I actually reduced a little bit on my PNL. If you go to the last 365 days, I am only up almost 2%. So what is the reason? I got in a little string of losing streaks. So what I recently realized was that I tended to go on tilt when I skip one day without trading or I miss out on a certain trade. So going back into the last week, I traded on Monday, and the next trades which I took were on Thursday, and Friday, which were all of them were losses. So starting with this one on 28th, which was GBP USD. Let me go to the GBP USD. So I'm gonna go right into it, so I don't want any delay. Let me go through it as quickly as possible. GBPUSD, where the hell is it? It is right where? Here, GBPUSD. Here it is. So let's go back to the daily and see what we can see. So I think I showed the market on Wednesday on the GBPUSD. So going through the week, I think I did trade it on Monday. Here, this candle. So what was I looking for? So let me bring. I'm actually going to minimize this as it is not urgent as of right now. If we bring out euro, because I'm a fan of looking at how the markets correlate with one another, you can see on Monday, which was the 28th, sorry, on the daily time frame, we can see that the price was obviously reversing off of this weekly imbalance which was created right here, which you can see clearly if you go to the weekly time frame. And I was anticipating, as this weekly candle respected it and very strongly, I was anticipating this week to be a down close candle, or at least purge this sell side, all of this sell side which I marked out. If you didn't check it out, you can see it in my free Telegram channel, and essentially I did mark it out. So going through the 4-hour time frame, as I was expecting a continuation to the downside, this is the trade which I did take on the GBPUSD. So at the open of 9 a.m. I do not remember exactly how I did get this, but as you can see, we created a high in the Asian session. Right now we are on the 4-hour time frame, and if you go to the daily, you can see that we created a high right here. We swept the 8 a.m. high and instantly started flipping bearish. So I caught this trade, I think essentially on the 5-minute. Yeah, I did put on a live trade record of this trade and how it played out perfectly, but I didn't mismanage it as much as I wanted, but I held on for pretty much the whole move. But I added a position on this week retest, so that was it. But if you could go back to the euro trade which I took on the 31st of this July, you can see that was some kind of a shitty trade, as we already had a rangy day right here. Let me go back a little bit. Skipping one day was a little bit enough, but sometimes when I miss out of trades, it is very easy for me to start taking batch of crappy trades which regain all the profits which I made. So I missed out on this trade on the GBPUSD straight, and I did put on a trade recap on how I missed out on it. I don't think I need to repeat it, but it was a very clean low resistance liquidity run, and that is when I got on tilt a little bit and started behaving in a way which I'm not proud of, which I'm going to discuss on the 31st of July. I took the first loss on 21st. So I can't say that it was a loss, because it was simply that I was not willing to hold the trade through the news. So as you can see on 31st of, let me bring out exchange euro with GBP USD so that I can use it for the correlation. So here is the trade which I closed midway right inside of this week before it started retracing. So it was a kind of an overnight trade, but the reason why I entered this one, I was seeing some kind of bearish continuation. But if you're familiar with how I trade using ICT concept, I shouldn't have been looking for more shorts to this sell side, even though it was a relevant swing, but it was in the middle of nowhere. So if you could kind of make a sense of it, it wasn't valid, because why would price return to this low? It was first of all not a time-based liquidity. It was not a low of the week, it was just a low of the day, which was in the middle of nowhere compared to where others were. So I simply shouldn't have been looking for shorts. Even if I had, I could just waited for the price, because usually when I do 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio, I hold for at least 1 to 1 before considering closing the full position or setting break even. But closing the trade manually in drawdown, that was a silly mistake to make, specifically for me, because I always set and break my own rules, which is kind of embarrassing. But yeah, we have to get used to that, and hopefully I will make the change. You can see how this week have been very bearish so far. I was caught up in trying to trade continuations of this whole move, but forgetting that we had NFP on Thursday, and also we did have a potential Friday low of the week formation. So I shouldn't have closed this trade in a drawdown. At least I could have waited, because if you see, I did share this in my Telegram channel. Is, you know, the price reached 1.553 R, so that would be enough for me to close the trade prior to the NFP release. So I'm not super proud of that, because I closed in drawdown and simply did not respect my own rules. So that is a mistake which costed me money, and I hope I will not repeat it once again. But also holding the trade in drawdown overnight, the day prior the NFP release, was kind of, that is why I am saying that I didn't see this as low resistance liquidity run. I obviously knew that this could be a high resistance, considering how these pairs, Euro USD and this GBP USD, were not in sync. That could indicate an early sign of a choppy market, which I could have easily avoided. So also on Friday I did trade US 30 loss, which I could have prevented. Oh my god, I wish. It's pretty to say these things like this in hindsight, but when they happen, you have no excuse but to admit your own mistakes. So let me go to US 30, because I did get a loss of that, but I don't remember where the day which I took 2 losses. Yeah, it's Friday, of course, because I closed the trade manually and took a loss on US30. Let me search US30, because yeah, on Friday I did take a loss on US30. Yeah, so how did this trade come? So I was not ready for trading reversals. I was simply trying to catch the continuations to the downside, but here is the catch. On the high time frames, let me bring the NAS 100 so we can pair it and with US30. So I like to use the forex or the commodities which are derived from the fx.cm because they are a little bit cleaner somehow. So I was expecting a continuation to the downside. Reason being, there was still a lot of sell-side liquidity over there on the NAS 100, which was already swept on Dow Jones, meaning that we could still logically expect continuations towards at least the high of this, or the high of this candle right here, which was the the daily high on June. So dropping down to the for a time frame, you can see that we dropped below this week, which is also a weekly low. If we go to the weekly time frame, you can see that that was a weekly low which retested a weekly fair value gap right here, as you can see. So if we dropped down to that week and used it as resistance for the price to still go lower, I was expecting price to dig deeper into this fair value gap, this weekly fair value gap. So considering the fact that I was trading trying to short still into a high time frame imbalance is absurd, but yeah, considering that we were in this weekly BC and on the 4-hour time frame we didn't see any change in state of delivery, I was still expecting the bearish continuation, at least to the consequent encroachment of this weekly CB. So that is why I was bearish on the US30. So the entry which I took it on 5 minutes, and the bias which I had was essentially the fact that we formed a swing high right here, we pushed to the downside, and this week right here respected the 50% of the range of this candle tree. Let me draw it out, meaning that there was a high potential for continuation to the downside. So I was caught up in this retracement as this okay, let me remove this flash which points to the downside so that you can see it clearly. So the reason I went short, you can see that we displaced below this low right here and formed for our 1 hour fair value gap. So I was expecting the price to still react off of that fair value gap to go lower, but if you see closely, we opened a little bit high on the Friday on Dow Jones or US30 and started dumping since daily open, meaning that there is no need for the price to return back to the daily open. We can expect continuation to the downside, but the 4-hour candle opened right here, I think. the 10 a.m. candle opened right here. So I'm trying to rationalize why I did what I did. The price didn't even have the time to react off of the open of the, so you can see that the 4 hour candle opened low and started flipping bullish. So that is why I shouldn't have been looking for shorts at all, because I ended up being smoked. Because why? The price opened low, swept the previous 4 hours low as usual, and price just flipped the bullish and started kind of respecting this 4-hour fair value gap which I just showed you. And even though it made that, but you can see the price was choppy. However, look what I seen. I didn't set break even in time because I was trying to hold for too long. As you can see, I was planning for holding for 3 hours, which were not that bad, but I didn't set break even as soon as the price reached the 1-to-1. That is the mistake which I tend to make. Whenever price reaches 1-to-1, I must go break even, because you never know, the market might do its thing and shit happens. But you can see how the price just reached the 1-on-1 and reversed back to my invalidation. So I think that this is a lesson which I was taught by the market this whole week. Whenever price reaches 1-on-1, go break even. Don't even think about it, because you might be wrong. The market is always right. You just have to obey the rules you set for yourself. So that is what I can tell you, and I think that's pretty much it. And this week was tough. I got a lot of stop losses hit, but overall I'm green still, and you can see how much let's see how I remember on this trade which I took. Actually, on one account I didn't take a full loss because I trailed my stops. I put my stops a little bit on this week, which was formed at 10:47 on the 50% of that week, which was created at 10:47. That is why I didn't even bother to make this a risk to reward stuff any longer, because I was already stopped out. I accepted my risk. So this should be a warning sign when the high time frame candle doesn't open. Make a low first or a high first, because that would mean that price is most likely going to form a high resistance liquidity run. So this was a PM session short. So for every trade which I showed you, just got in a little profit of 1-on-1 and then reversed. That is the lesson which I just learned right now. Either this one on US30, the one on GBPUSD, as well as a lot of other ones, but that is something I need to work on. Maybe I should start considering taking 1-on-1 trades and see what happens. So as most of my stop outs usually at least retest one-on-one risk to reward ratio. And if you have seen my live trade records, you can see this trade which I lost right here reached the one-on-one on euro, and the trade which I lost on GBP USD too. Which one? I think I did trade the GBP USD. Let's see. US 30, US 100, and Euro USD. Yeah, those was the only trades which I took on this week, and they all reached one-on-one risk to reward ratio, but I didn't set break even and I got stopped out for loss. This is something which is very alarming and concerning, which I really need to work on. Maybe I could have gotten a 3% gain have I used one-on-one risk to reward ratio. What is better, having a one-on-one risk to reward ratio? Because I was not entirely wrong, I just didn't set break even as soon as I wanted to. I must, because I already know that is my law. Whenever I get one-on-one, I must set break even, but I didn't do it. I didn't close the full position, so that is a mistake which I am going to work on going into August of 2025. So if you have watched till the end of this video, thanks, and I hope you got something insightful to think about. If you would like to hang out with me, I have a free Telegram channel. I think it's Ivan Trades channel, so you can see all of these trades which I did upload, and try and learn what you can learn from my mistakes, because I'm not perfect, and or even give me some ideas or thoughts on what you do, how you do it in these markets, and yeah, we can grow together. That is my mission. So it's Ivan Trades as usual. Let me share you a quick review on my channel, so that if you are interested, the link will be in the description. Yeah, I think that's pretty much. So here it is, all of the wins, all of the losses, and yeah, shit happens, bro. But what do you do when your stop loss gets hit and the trade just goes straight into your direction? When you miss out trades, yeah, do you rush to get back what you didn't catch? Yeah, you can see we have wins too, but yeah, you have to learn from your wins as well as your losses. But I didn't talk about the wins today, but I did talk about it actually. So make sure that you reach out and hang out with me, and yeah, happy trading day. Yeah, so thank you, that's it.